What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris, and welcome to another one of my movie reviews. And in this review, I'm going to be reviewing Halloween 2018, The Further Adventures of Michael Myers. Now, I say that, but this is really the third time rebooted Adventures of Michael Myers, because they rebooted the original timeline with Halloween 20 years later, H2O, that movie, H20. Then they had the Rob Zombie reboot, and this is sort of another reboot. It's the original timeline, but only Halloween 1978, the original, is continuity in this version. So all those other sequels don't count. Which personally, I kind of liked Halloween 2. All the other ones don't really care for all that much, but Halloween 2 I did like. Now for this movie, one thing I was really excited for this because the type of horror that I love slasher. Slasher films is where it's at for me. I don't care about found footage. I don't care about exorcist films or sort of this new stuff they doing like these last 10 years. Slashers are what I love. I love Friday the 13th. I love Nightmare on Elm Street. I love Child's Play. All that stuff. And Halloween. Personally, though, I've never liked Michael Myers as much as Jason or Freddy. He just doesn't give me that same kind of bang for my buck as those other two. But I still really like Michael Myers. And I dig the original Halloween, even though I think it might be a little bit overrated. But with this movie, here we come with making a big deal that we're bringing Halloween back. We got John Carpenter. He's sort of bringing a good direction to this film. All the trailers have looked really good, gotten people really hyped. And the thing is, they call this movie, the title is just Halloween, nothing special, no resurrection or nothing like that. I think a perfect name for this movie would have been calling it Michael. Because just how Wolverine 3 was called Logan, it would have been perfect to call this movie just Michael. Because this movie is sort of Halloween, but sort of Logan style. Just how like Logan was the old man version of Wolverine. Here we come with this new Halloween movie, and it's the old man version of the characters we saw from Halloween. You got your old ass Laurie, got your old ass Michael Myers, and really throughout the film, I felt it just had this cool sort of gritty vibe, just the direction and all that stuff going on that makes for sort of a really well-made Halloween film. Let's not bullshit around here. The original Halloween film isn't, it might, I said earlier, I think it's a little overrated just because it's a lot of just sort of basic stuff going on and sort of creating tension and whatnot, you know, just sort of cheap stuff, which is still good. I still like it, but let's not pretend it's just this wow factor of like slasher films, that stuff that other slasher films haven't done already or did later on, I should say. I can say with this movie that I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really well made Halloween film for this series, a really well made slasher film. Gives you all the stuff that you want from a slasher film, that sort of violence, those sort of jump scare moments. It does that really well. I thought when it came to the kills, I thought they did a really good job on this one. They did a good mix of showing you stuff that happened off screen and actually showing you some really brutal shit that happened. There are a few kills in here that are just like, whoa. One, I'm not going to spoil what character it happens to, but Michael, he steps on a dude's face, and it is just like, God damn, that was a good one. He got the whole audience with that kill, with that one, just in terms of the reaction. So that was great stuff right there when it came to the kills. And I think the thing that really sells this movie, the thing that sort of all the trailers were built off on, sort of gotten people excited, is that dynamic between Laurie and Michael. It works really well in this film. Like I said, the continuity, it's just taking, all it takes is the original Halloween movie, giving us this sort of dynamic we haven't seen before between Laurie and Michael 40 years later after those killings that happened that Halloween night. And they really do a really good job showing that paranoia that Laurie feels. She's obviously, it affected her a whole lot. Jamie Lee Curtis, she does a great job in this film. You can tell she's got some years on her, but still she's gritty as fuck. She's really good in this role. That the dynamic she has with Michael is still good. Just that hatred, that obsession, all that's really good, and showing how all that stuff from 40 years ago did affect her. So that dynamic between Laurie and Michael, that's obviously where the heart of the movie is, and that worked really well, as well as the killings and sort of the slasher stuff that you want to see in these films. Now, I did have a few problems. One thing I'm going to bring up is the fact that, or the first problem is that, okay, so the other Halloween movies besides the first one don't count. So I said this movie did a good job of showing the paranoia that Laurie had because of Michael. But the thing is that, okay, it was just one event that happened. It was that original Halloween movie. So it's not like this was a repeated thing that kept happening. There's no Halloween 2. There's no Halloween 20 years later. There's no Halloween Resurrection. None of that stuff counts. So I don't think, I thought it was maybe just at the beginning, I thought it was a little bit extreme that she was like this obsessive over everything. The fact that she sort of shaped the whole way her family was raised and all of that just because of this one night. And granted, it was a really fucked up night, and who am I to say how I would react after a night like that happened? But at the beginning, I thought, well, if it's just the one Halloween movie that counts in this continuity, it's a little, maybe a little extreme that she's acting that way, but you know what? It still worked for how the movie went and her character. So I didn't have too much of a problem with that, but it was something I thought about early on. And the next problem I have is nothing really big, maybe sort of a nitpick, was the ending. Now, I don't mean the final confrontation that they all have with Michael. I'm just talking about the way the movie ends. It ends on sort of a underwhelming note where it's just like, oh, well, I guess they just didn't have any idea how really to end this movie because it just ends in sort of like a kind of a flat notion to me. And you can tell a lot of the audience felt that way when that final shot happened and cut to the credits. They were just like, oh, well, all right then. And granted, the original Halloween doesn't really have that great an ending either. It's kind of like, but even still, it's way better than the ending they gave us here. This one was just a little underwhelming. Like I said, not the final confrontation, but just the way, like the closing of the movie just was a little weird. But like I said, I did really enjoy this movie. Thought it worked really well as sort of bringing back the slasher genre, the Halloween series, and Michael Myers. He was just really cool in this movie. Enjoyed it quite a bit. So I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. A solid, good movie right here, and perfect just for this Halloween season, obviously. And obviously, this movie is doing really well right now, so I hope this gives them the idea to sort of bring back the other slashers I really love, like Jason and Freddy. Bring them back, whether it's the original timeline or whatever. Let's give them movies and give them sort of the movies that all the fans want to see, because slashers as a genre is what we really, I think a lot of people like because of these iconic characters, these cinema icons. It's just really cool. So that's why I think people like to go see these movies for the kills and all that, but just because we got these cool, iconic images of characters. Not this found footage bullshit or just random exercising little girls, exorcism on little girls. No, none of that stuff. Slashers is where it's at for me, definitely. So I want to see slashers make a comeback, and this movie was a great stepping stone towards that. So I hope y'all enjoyed this review, and I will see y'all around with another one.